Steptoe and Son looked like a simple comedy about a junkyard and family squabbles. But behind the laughs were disturbing truths that revealed the darkness of Britain's original sitcom. Fact 1.
On a 10? No!
Steptoe and Son wasn't supposed to be a long-running series. It started in 1962 as a one-off episode in the BBC's Comedy Playhouse. Writers Ray Galton and Alan Simpson never intended more than a pilot. But the chemistry between Wilfrid Brambell and Harry H. Corbett was undeniable. The story of a father and son rag and bone team instantly clicked with audiences. Viewers were shocked at how gritty it felt for a sitcom. It wasn't glossy like American comedies of the time. Instead, it showed poverty, class struggles, and generational conflict. The realism was so strong, some called it kitchen sink comedy. The BBC was flooded with requests for more. Executives saw the potential and ordered a full series. Suddenly, two actors who barely knew each other were locked together. The father-son relationship became iconic across Britain. But that bond was built on tension both on and off screen. The unexpected success shaped the rest of their careers. What was supposed to be disposable comedy became legendary television. It changed British sitcoms forever, blending laughs with raw realism, and it left behind a legacy that was as heavy as it was groundbreaking. A single one-off had turned into one of the darkest, most influential sitcoms in history.
She'd do better to light a fire, wouldn't she?
Fact 2.
You don't have too many of a summon either.
What's the point? You only get dirty again.
On screen, they played a bickering father and son. Off screen, their relationship was even worse. Wilfrid Brambell, Albert, and Harry H. Corbett, Harold, clashed constantly. Brambell was an old-school stage actor, grumpy and set in his ways. Corbett was a younger talent trained in serious drama. Their acting styles couldn't have been more different. Corbett grew frustrated with Brambell's unpredictability. Brambell thought Corbett was arrogant and dismissive. On set, their tension sometimes turned into shouting matches. Crew members often had to calm them down. Yet this real-life hostility gave their performances extra bite. Viewers believed the tension because it was partly real. The BBC tried to hide how bad it was behind the scenes, but colleagues knew the hatred ran deep. Even in interviews, they avoided speaking warmly of each other. The bitterness followed them through the years. It made filming difficult, but also strangely authentic. The sitcom thrived on conflict because the actors truly lived it, and it proved that sometimes hate makes great television.
Good luck, son. Hope you win.
Oh.
Fact 3.
One stuffed Indian tiger. That's going to be difficult.
Harry H. Corbett was a classically trained actor. Before Steptoe and Son, he was considered a rising Shakespearean star. He dreamed of a career on the serious stage, but the role of Harold trapped him in comedy. Casting directors couldn't see past his sitcom character. He was pigeonholed as the frustrated junkyard son. Corbett grew bitter about being typecast. He felt his dramatic skills were wasted. Friends said he regretted signing onto the show. Despite fame, he felt unfulfilled as an artist. Hollywood offers never came his way. Instead, he was tied to Britain's gritty sitcom world. The role paid well but crushed his ambitions. He admitted privately that he felt stuck. The irony was that he gave the performance of a lifetime. Viewers adored him, but he longed for more. This conflict haunted him throughout his career. His resentment mirrored Harold's frustrations with Albert, and it made the show feel even more painfully real.
Not a birthday? Come on, Dad, it's got to be. You're having a wash.
Fact 4.
One at a time, each one at a time. Don't push outside them all.
Wilfrid Brambell played the dirty old man, Albert. Off-screen, his life carried shadows too. He battled rumours and scandals throughout his career. Brambell was arrested in 1962 for persistently importuning. At the time, homosexuality was still illegal in Britain. The case was widely reported in the press. Though charges were later dismissed, his reputation suffered. The tabloids painted him as scandalous. Behind closed doors, Brambell lived quietly and alone. Colleagues described him as eccentric and secretive. He rarely socialized with his co-stars. The tension with Corbett grew partly from this secrecy. Fans had no idea about his personal struggles, but insiders whispered about his troubled relationships. The role of Albert only deepened the typecasting. Brambell grew tired of being the dirty old man. He wanted recognition as a serious actor too. Instead, his personal life was overshadowed by scandal, and it gave his career a dark undertone that never left.
And how much did Arthur Nagers say?
25 quid.
They want.
Fact 5.
Only his dignity. It didn't go much in a pair of salmon pink wrist cutters dangling down the back of his helmet.
Unlike glossy sitcoms, Steptoe and Son was bleak. It focused on working-class poverty in London. Albert and Harold lived in a filthy junkyard. The setting wasn't glamorous or funny, it was depressing. Viewers saw broken walls, clutter and dirt. It looked like real hardship on screen. This struck a nerve with audiences. It mirrored post-war Britain's economic struggles. The sitcom mixed comedy with social commentary. People recognized their own struggles in the characters. It wasn't escapism, it was reflection. Critics called it tragicomic. Laughter often gave way to despair. Episodes often ended with Harold defeated. He could never escape his father's control. That hopelessness felt disturbingly real. It separated the show from lighter comedies of the era, and it made the humour sting even more. For many, Steptoe and Son was too close to reality.
Bravo, my favourite game. You've just finished, I see.
Fact 6.
I mean, look at it. It's not even fashionable. Get your working gear on. I don't suppose that's changed much.
The pressure of fame wore Corbett down. He turned to heavy drinking to cope. Stress from the role and his frustrations mounted. The long-running show drained his energy. Corbett often felt trapped and depressed. He struggled with his public image. The constant recognition brought little joy. Behind the scenes, he was deeply unhappy. Alcohol worsened his health issues. By the 1970s, his health had sharply declined. He developed heart problems from the strain. Friends noticed his declining energy. He confessed to feeling broken. The role that made him famous also destroyed him. He couldn't escape the shadow of Harold. It weighed on him until the very end. His tragic decline shocked his fans. It showed the heavy price of sitcom stardom, and it left a permanent scar on the show's history.
Follow this line. Oh, God, with these plain codes.
Fact 7.
I've been all day out in the yard, locked in that bleeding wardrobe.
Brambell's life mirrored Albert in unsettling ways. He became typecast as the dirty old man. No matter what he tried, audiences saw Albert. Producers offered him few other roles. His reputation was locked by Steptoe and Son. He resented being trapped in one character. Friends said he grew bitter about his career. He struggled to find work after the show ended. Later parts were often minor or forgettable. The industry treated him as a caricature. He longed for recognition as a real actor, but the sitcom's shadow was too strong. It followed him until his death in 1985. Even obituaries focused on Albert, not Wilfrid. He had given everything to one role, but it gave little back in return. Like Corbett, he paid a heavy price. The sitcom's legacy consumed its stars and left both men unable to escape its grip. Fact 8.
Why is that then? It's the first bleeding drink I've ever had on it.
Steptoe and Son was remade in America. The new version was called Sanford and Son. It premiered in 1972 on NBC. The remake starred Red Fox as Fred Sanford. Like Albert, he was a junk dealer father. Demon Wilson played his frustrated son, Lamont. The American version became a massive hit. It ran for 6 successful seasons. It broke barriers for African-American sitcoms. The dynamic mirrored Brambell and Corbett's conflict, but it added American cultural flavor. Sanford and Son became a cornerstone of US comedy. It inspired later shows like Good Times and The Jeffersons. Few American viewers knew it was based on a British original. The remake proved how universal the story was. A junkyard family struck chords across continents. It made Steptoe and Son one of Britain's greatest exports, and it showed the strange afterlife of a bleak comedy. From London junkyard to US primetime, the legacy lived on.
You don't eat it, I'll eat it. I'll cook you something else.
No, thank you. I don't want any more of your Jimmy Young cock-ups.
Fact 9.
Just one thing, though. I mean, what's it like for... can you?
Corbett's health collapsed in the 1980s. He suffered multiple heart attacks. By 1982, he was gravely ill. He died that year at only 57. His early death devastated fans. Brambell also faced declining health. He battled cancer and loneliness. In 1985, he died at age 72. Neither star lived to see how legendary the show became. Their deaths symbolized the darkness behind the laughter. The sitcom had consumed both of its stars. They left behind little happiness outside the show. Friends said their lives felt incomplete. They had been prisoners of their roles. Their tragic endings shocked the comedy world. Fans mourned not just the men, but the pain they endured. The sitcom had made them famous, but destroyed them. Their deaths ended an era of bleak brilliance, and it left Steptoe and Son with one of TV's saddest legacies.
You was talking to her! Fiona Richmond here! Come on, get on! Get on!
Fact 10. Steptoe and Son remains one of Britain's greatest sitcoms. It influenced generations of comedy writers. It inspired remakes across the world. Yet its story is filled with sadness. Its stars hated each other in real life. They both suffered from typecasting and decline. The gritty tone shocked audiences used to light comedy. It forced sitcoms to tackle real social issues. The format paved the way for dark comedy. Writers still cite it as groundbreaking television. At the same time, it destroyed its leading men. The show's realism became their real-life prison. Its humour hid tragedy behind every laugh. Audiences adored it, but the cost was high. It proved comedy can be as heavy as drama. The series changed television history forever, but it left scars on everyone involved. Steptoe and Son was both a triumph and a tragedy, and that disturbing legacy makes it unforgettable.